Trey doesn't interrupt the intro. It's not like our Simpsons thing.
Exactly.
Like our couch, look, it's like our couch scene now.
Guys, certain traditions have to be maintained. Like, this is just the way it's going to go now.
Now I feel put on the spot, and I don't.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, gamers of all ages. It's episode 4 of the On the Button podcast. Ian, you're alive. I'm so glad.
Yes, I am. Yeah, I am too. If you fly cheap, wear a mask. I think it's my new motto.
Or don't be hammered.
Yeah, I mean that's not a great idea. I did enjoy a lot of tequila that day.
I was gonna say all those tequila shots from all of the Triple Dark raid plays really caught up with you, man. Like that was rough to watch.
Well, and then expensive tequila at night at dinner.
That's true.
And then
I'd forgotten about that. You should tell that story.
Spent $100 on dinner at the Yard House to make myself try to feel better after all those shots, and it worked. It worked, and then I did a $36 shot of Don Julio. So
that was insane. He orders this drink with some tequila. He's like, ginger ale and tequila, right? That's all it was.
Yeah, that's my drink, ginger ale and tequila.
So he orders this drink, and they bring him like a double of the top shelf tequila or something crazy.
Yeah,
and he's just
no
like,
ginger ale.
They don't tell him what it costs. He's just like, whatever. He just drinks it, and then the bill comes, and he's like, well, that didn't go at all like I planned. Like.
And then afterwards, I went out for more drinks with Michael, too.
Oh, did you? Okay.
I had like 2 more. I actually got my tequila and ginger ale. I had like 2 more of them.
Nice. So. That was a good evening. It was a nice, we had such a good time.
Unwind.
It was. We had such a good time on Sunday, but it was really nice to have a little bit of downtime when it was all over. So that was nice.
Yeah.
That was good. Well, welcome back. We're glad you survived the trip and you're here with us.
Yeah.
Trey, how's life treating you? I saw both of you guys. You guys both got to play last night. But I did not. I had to duck in and out, so I wasn't there very long. How you doing, Trey? He can't hear him. We can't. Why is he muted? Trey. Why is he muted?
And I was going to make something else. No,
there it was.
Now?
There it was.
Yeah.
Yep. There you go.
I'm on off on the mute, not mute thing.
Yeah.
So there's a burp a minute ago. Then that was because I unmuted myself to a burp. But.
Awesome. Okay, so let's try
again. I gotta ruin
this
at the beginning. Let's do that again.
No, let's just do it. Let's just keep going. We're just gonna do it live. It's
fine.
I'm just gonna keep
rolling through it. So you
showed
showed up to give me a card, and I had to give you a couple of cards because I'm trying to hyperspace out, and then you had to duck out like a chomp. I don't know, you had something else on your Tuesday night, and then the rest of us played a lot of games.
You guys played a lot.
I played more games last night than I've played in a while. I want to say I played like 20 games last night. It was a lot. There were 14 of us there, I think. And
you guys had a good turnout.
Participation has skyrocketed after. I mean, Twilight just must have been a bad set because Jump to Lightspeed, JTL. Jump to Lightspeed has been like people have come roaring back. It's been fun.
If you remember, like JTL dropped and the Boba ban hit almost at exactly the same time, like within about a week, if not literally the same week. And when people and then. Like the pre-releases were like fairly well attended for Twilight of the Republic. Lots of people showed up the first couple weeks. And then I think folks realized there's just not much really here. Right? When you played the set in a closed environment in the pre-release, great. But when you took it into the open environment, right? So JTL has better legs in that regard so far. We're a month out and we've still got really, really great crowds, especially now that Jango's been kicked to the curb and people can really, really get creative. So,
month and a half. I really hope whoever designed Twilight also had a hand in something else that's like been really popular, like the beginning of the game. Because I don't want whoever it is, they could learn from their mistakes and I don't want them to be like, oh man, I did one thing and it sucked, and now I can't do this anymore. I must be terrible.
I'll be honest. I would rather them err on the side of caution a little bit in some of these early sets than go stupidly crazy. And I think now that they've seen that Twilight is maybe a little on the low end And so they can look at that now and go, okay, not this. And for the future, that's a good lesson. So,
except
but
that they have 10 sets or so designed already. And so you've
But they're
set
not-
6 and 7 and 8.
but they're not printed yet. So things can be changed. Things can be changed.
That's true.
So with all this work in the deck lab, Trey, talk to me. What have you been playing? Like, what have you been trying or messing around with?
Oh my goodness. So I think I mentioned earlier, like in a previous episode, that I'm just building just deck after deck after deck after deck.
Mm-hmm.
And so I showed up last night with 4 different decks, and one of them was a straight copy of someone else's deck. One was a copy with some tweaks. The one that was wholly my own, though, is a Poe Dameron green deck.
Okay.
And so that was actually one that I played. I had a lot of fun with it. I was very pleasantly surprised by how well it did. I took down several other more popular leaders.
Mm-hmm.
It beat Boba, like the indirect damage Boba, and it also beat Luke head to head.
Okay.
It was just a ton of fun. It put Poe on something and then hit for 9, and then put Poe on something else and then hit for 9. So even though I kept getting people killed, I didn't have the inherent card disadvantage of slapping down a ship and then slapping down something on top of it and then losing both of them. I would slap down a ship and move Poe over to it, then they kill the ship. Oh well, I'm only out 1 card.
Exactly.
So that actually worked out really well. So some of the things that I've noticed, Red Squadron A-Wing is actually pretty bad because you play it and so many things are in space now. That's the 1-3, the red 1-3 for 2.
Oh, the Y-Wing? Or are you talking about the Green Squadron A-Wing from set 1?
Green Squadron A-Wing. You're right. Green.
Set 1. Bad. Right.
Green. You know what? I had it right, and then I was like, green is not right. That's the other one. But no, the Green Squadron A-Wing is actually...
It's not good anymore.
It's not... There's so much better stuff because everybody has stuff in the air. So if you don't go first, they're going to play something. You play your A-Wing, and then they're just going to kill it.
They're just going to kill it.
Yeah. And so there's so many other 2-drops I want to play at 2 rather than at on the first turn.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let's see what else.
If you're,
I got more stuff. So some things there are an insane amount of 3-drops in this game now, especially for space. Like you have to say I'm not running these really good 3-drops because I already have too many 3-drops.
I learned that building Wedge.
Yeah. So red 5 as a 3-drop is along with black 1 have been clutch when it comes to beating people in a race because you attack with black 1 and do a damage to it, and then you attack with red 5 and finish it off. And you didn't do anything outside of just what you were going to do anyway, and something on the other side died, and you didn't have to attack them. One of the cards that I have in this deck is the Resistance Blue Squadron, the A-Wings that for 3/4 when it comes in, it deals damage to something in space. Totally sucks. Hasn't done anything. I don't know if it has a spot somewhere else or I'm just playing the wrong decks, but I think it's always attrition going back and forth. My guy kills your guy kills my guy, and then I have a big guy that hits for some.
Based on what you're describing, with the black 1 and the red 5, they're probably doing most of the work before the Resistance Squadron, Resistance Blue gets there, right? In the terms
I just don't have any dudes. No, I don't have any dudes at that point. It's always going back and forth. And so one of the keys of red 5 and black 1 is that you can hit things on the ground.
Yes.
And so I can just swing through the air, and then I'm killing your thing on the ground, and that's been good. One of the cards that I was super excited about before, the Tactical Heavy Bomber, didn't play it all night long. Never came up.
Game didn't go long enough?
Game didn't really go long enough, and the few times it did go long enough, it wasn't really in a situation like I was trying to close out the game with stuff I had on the board, and I wanted to play the events that made me attack for +2 and deal the damage or whatever it was, or draw a card, or the card that was completely nails. Oh my goodness, I have the best story. Timely Reinforcements.
That card is so good.
Timely Reinforcements is an event for 5, and it just says you count up your opponent's resources, divide it by 2, round it down. So if you play it at 5, and they have 5 resources, you're only going to get it 4, or you're just going to count for 4. And then however many resources divided by 2 they have, you get that many X-Wing tokens, and they all have Sentinel this turn. And so
so good.
I won a game off the back of it because he sneak attacked in the new Devastator and killed almost everything on my side of the board. I had like 1 guy left. And then I immediately throw down this and get 4, because he had 8 to use this, and immediately get 4 of these things. And that was the end of his Devastator. His Devastator couldn't hit my base. His Devastator had to go take out a 2/2 and then die because he used a sneak attack. So I was able to just kill him. It was awesome. So those are the things that I found out about the deck I really enjoyed.
I'm a little disappointed in the Tactical Heavy Bomber part of the conversation, right? Because the more I look at that card, the more I think, man, there's got to be something there with pilots and the way that card is worded, the way it works. I want to believe in it, Trey. I want to believe in that card.
It might have matchups where it's really good, and I just bring it out of the sideboard, but I just didn't hit him last night. I played mostly aggressive decks, so maybe that's it. But if I don't know what the right spot is. It just was never the right time to play the card.
Okay.
My only question on your build is why no ejects? Like, I feel that card was made for Poe. Like, there's no eject. You're not using eject at all.
I didn't think about it. It just I've actually, one of the things that I've been looking at, what is it? Hot Shot Maneuver? Is that the one that deals damage to another dude?
Yes, Hot Shot Maneuver is amazing.
It's amazing-ish. It doesn't get me to go faster, so maybe I swap out the Hot Shot Maneuver, and like I have Hot Shot Maneuver, Trench Run, and then stay on target. Like, and then I have K-Turn as well to stand somebody back up. So I have a lot of those.
Hot Shot Maneuver is probably better in Luke. It's not a bad card in this deck. Don't get me wrong. I just think it's probably better in Luke.
So, but anyway, some of the games that I won, like, were on the back of I would, like, Poe would be on somebody and attack and deal some damage, and then they would kill that ship, and he would go back, and then I would flip him over, and then I would attack with him, and then I would spend the one to put him back on somebody else and then hit with him again. So he can do a ton of damage. And I hadn't really considered eject. I may have to go check that one out.
Yeah,
you can put him on a ship, eject him, drop him on the board. You've got a free deploy of him.
Yeah, I like the basis of what you've got here.
Turn swinging.
If it were me, I'd probably go to 3 Bright Hopes.
That was also a clutch card.
You can protect all your other space units with that, right? Like, that's amazing.
Protect your space units. It does a really good job of slamming it down. Like, if they flip over Luke, and then you just slam that down, and they have to crash into Luke, so you basically eat one of their Luke attacks, and then you can finish them off. So they have to actually spend that attack to kill your guy, otherwise it sticks around. So then you can claim the button and then kill him on the next hit on the first turn.
And Bright Hope with a pilot is a problem.
Oh yeah.
You drop Bright Hope and you put a pilot down there, and it doesn't matter the pilot. You're just like, oh man, this just made this incredibly worse.
Yeah,
it's a tough one.
Yep, I've actually done that in Wedge. I've played. Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, Bright Hope.
We got a whole list of decks to go.
I know. Bright Hope is such a good card. Ian, talk to me about one of the other things you tried last night. You've got a Piet deck in here.
Yeah, so I built Piet Red. It crushed. I didn't lose a game with it against Anthony. He tried 3 different decks against me. Cad Bane, Mando. I can't remember what the third one is, but I just ran him over. It's playing really well. Piet Red, yeah. The list is pretty strange. So you want to ramp early. Like, that's the number one thing. You want to ramp to get Piet flipped over, because I'm using Piet not really for his 2 resource discount, but more as an indirect damage sponge these days, because he's got 7 health and everybody's dropping indirect damage like crazy. I'm playing a lot of ground units, surprisingly. I think I've got 16, but they're pilots. So they give me a dual option.
Double duty.
So double duty. So if I need to, I can drop them on the ground. IG-88 played magnificent last night.
Such a good card.
I would get Devastator out at 6, do 4 indirect damage, leave something on the ground that I have no interest in killing, slightly damaged. Beginning of next turn, drop IG-88. Now the Devastator is a 12-9 instantly, and I can attack with it the next phase. So
that's a really good card.
And then Planetary Bombardment at 6 resources. I always have a capital ship out. That card plays amazing. Even if I can't direct where the damage goes, just telling somebody, okay, 12 indirect damage, and then in 2 seconds you're going to be hit by a giant capital ship. So make sure you choose very, very wisely.
Choose wisely.
Yeah. I'm playing.
So we didn't play last night. Ian and I did not play. You just sat.
No.
And
Anthony would not. Anthony would not.
And over.
Yeah, he would not give me up. Like, he was determined to beat me yesterday, and he did not beat me a single time with his 10 decks he brought. I felt kind of bad. I asked him a couple of times if he wanted to switch it up. He's like, no, let's try this. So, he was in his groove, so I didn't want to get him out of there. I'm only playing 12 events.
Groove.
Yeah, losing groove. But I think he really wanted to snap out of it. He really doesn't love losing to me.
I would be really interested to see you take this out against Sabine.
Yeah, I mean, that's the interesting part is I really need to play a Sabine and a Han
Yes.
deck to see where it is in the meta, right?
Yep, for sure. And
Um,
I don't think Quinlan is a big threat for you, but I think Sabine and Han would be tougher matchups. I'd be curious to see how you fared.
Quinlan I've played on Carabast a lot. I haven't run up up against a lot of Han or Sabine decks with it. My events are all for I'm playing Force Choke and I'm playing Open Fire, which are just straight ground events. So like a lot of times I'm straight claiming and then playing resupply, and then I'm in a really good spot. Because I can eat up a couple of damage to start. Like I can eat up about 10 damage to start before I just start bringing out pure mayhem.
This
So,
feels like it would have good game against Han because you've got the same resource with him as you're playing big dudes. You sort of the same resource. You're not eating your hand as much, and you're getting to play things for one cheaper, which is basically what Han does by putting the extra one in play.
yeah.
You don't have things. His Han Solo, like his unit Han Solo, is not going to find a lot of things to attack on yours, except for things that you already want to die. And then like a lot of your guys that your units that you're actually playing are big enough that they dodge when Infus Nest is going to bounce things. So he plays Infus Nest and there's nothing on your side of the table that you care about getting bounced. Or if he bounces something, you just put it as a pilot on one of your ships and keep going.
Yeah, exactly. So it's held up okay against some aggro decks to start. So I'm interested in playing it against those to see where it's at. But that will just help me tool it a little more because I think this is like the 6th iteration I've had of it.
You've been working on that one for a while.
Yeah, since the start. So like the units in there are very strange. Like a really great turn 1 play is to play. I'm playing the Scouting Headhunter. So I play Scouting Headhunter, take initiative, and then I play Vader on him, the new Vader unit that can be a pilot also. So now I've got this 5/5 in space, 5/4 in space, right off the start. That has Sentinel, so that becomes really a nice starting problem for me.
Interesting. I like it. I've seen a lot of people trying to mess around with Piet Red, but not a lot of folks having a ton of success with it. So I'm glad it's working for you. I may have to look at this myself. I feel if I was
some interesting card choices in here.
I was gonna say
the Pantoran Starship Thief.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I like that one. I think that one's not getting enough play yet.
A lot of dual play cards, so that I have options early. Like even if I have to drop that as a 2/2 drop, it's not the worst thing on earth because I can crash it into something. I don't care about it.
I think if it were me, I would probably cut the Victor Wingman and go with some Ground Sentinels. I think that would give you a little more legs against something like a Sabine, right? That's trying to rush you with a bunch of cheap ground stuff. But I'd be curious to try this build as it is into that matchup and then make some changes and see where it goes. I'm actually
US.
I'm trying to find the link to my wedge deck so I can share this with you guys. And as I look through here, I'm not seeing it. I'm actually quite irritated. I've got a couple of. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I just passed it. No, I don't know. I'll have to find it later. I'll tell you what I'll do.
Too busy building fancy graphics for us.
You're not wrong, right? You're not wrong. There's a whole lot of that going on. I'll tell you what I will do. I'll talk about this Vader deck I've been playing. Right, one of the things that I have been messing with since I joined the KTOD Discord a while ago is looking back at some older leaders and just kind of, like, I want to look at this guy through a different lens. And one of my favorite threads in that Discord is the Vader aggression thread, old school Vader from set 1. And so I sat down and I've been kind of hanging out in that thread for a while. And somebody had posted a build, I don't know, over the weekend. And I looked at it and went, I like this shell. This is a good start for me. This looks like something I might have built. So I'm going to take this and mess around with it. And so I started playing around with it a little bit. I put a few online games into it and made some changes. I really like the feel of it, and I think the pilots really benefit a deck like this. I went in and I added, it had IG in it, and then when I originally grabbed it, which, as we were just talking about, is an amazing card, I added the Vader pilots. I added the Dengar pilot. Now the Dengar pilot does not really have any underworld units to latch onto, so you're not really getting the benefit, like the full maximum benefit of his text. But there's some things that I like about the deck and kind of the way it functions and so on and so forth. So I'm enjoying it. I think there's more to this one than I realized. the amount of direct damage in it is really, really cool.
Yeah, I'm looking at the list. I really like the list. It looks fun to play.
This looks very angry.
Oh yes, you guys know me.
Even the art.
Come on, I'm an aggro guy.
Everything's flying. Everything's shooting lightning. Everything's
yes.
bolts going around.
Yes. Now I will say one of the cards that I wasn't originally
this is
sold on.
Your parents never let you skip school, isn't it?
That's what it is.
This angry. This still angry.
Mm-hmm. This is my way of getting back. One of the cards that surprised me is a card from way back in set 2 that I've always looked at and gone, "Huh, that's interesting," and never played. Is Given to Your Anger. And I found that
I like that one.
That card has some really interesting uses. You can engineer it in ways where your opponent thinks they're going to get a big attack out of like a Poe, right? And you're like, nah, you get to smash my weenie while I wait another round for something interesting to happen or whatever. And I thought that was I got a lot of good value out of that card, even though only 2 of in the main. I could see myself bringing in all 3 on the sideboard. So.
I can see using that as an interesting tool to kill one of your, like you have a big guy out, you kill one of your opponent's creatures by making them use their action to attack and then keeping the claim. Like that seems like a
very possibly, right? Because they're required to do it, right? They're not allowed to skip it if they can. If they can attack, they must attack. So It is an interesting way to kind of remove some choices from your opponent. Anyway, I'm going to keep messing around with this one. One of the changes that I made, the TIE Bomber, man, that card is good. Just the simple little 2 cost 0/4. That card just every time I play it, it shocks me. Ian and I saw this in Denver, right? Somebody opened a game with a TIE Bomber and their next play was a Pilot Vader. That is just a horrible, horrible thing to do to your opponent early on.
Yeah.
Just so mean. Rough. So mean.
Unless they can kill it. And if they can kill it, they just win.
I don't think they just win. Like if they can kill it, that's great. But man, by the time they probably can, you have done some really mean things to them unless they're sitting on, like you can't, takedown won't do it, right? You have to be sitting on a Fell the Dragon won't do it. A Power of the Dark Side would do it. There's certain matchups, obviously, you don't just dive right into that in. But like the point is, I can do that on the 3 resource turn, and by your little 1-shot kill cards don't really come online until the 5 resource turn. So I can potentially get a lot of use out of that before you have a way to murder it.
So before we bore everybody with like just deck after deck after deck after deck, we gotta let people's brains wrap around that. So
okay.
Wes, when is our next coverage? What do we do? We're going to stream some more, right?
Yeah. So the next confirmed coverage that we have is the first 2 weekends in June. Trey, you're going to be covering the Planetary Qualifier here at Dragon's Lair in Houston with me. Ian's going to get to play that day. He told me, hang on, I got to find it. What was it he actually said? I got to make sure I quote him correctly.
I'm making top 16 or I'm dying trying.
That's what it is. That's literally what he typed to me yesterday. And I was like, well, now, okay, please, you're not allowed to die.
He says that into the mirror. He goes to the bathroom every morning 15 times. I'm making top 16.
Making it.
So yeah, that's going to be the next thing. And then the weekend after that, I did hear back from Dragon's Lair in Austin. They want us to come back and cover their PQ the 14th. So Trey, we're going to let you play in that one. And I think, I'm going to try and see if I can get Ian to cover that one with me just to give you give you a bit of a break. So you're not always the guy on camera.
I'm trying. I'm unconfirmed, but I'm working on it.
Now, the other thing that this is still a long shot, so don't put any faith in this. I'm trying to see if maybe, fingers crossed, I can make it to the regional in Minneapolis, but I got a lot of things.
That's exciting.
I got a lot of hurdles to overcome before I can make that trip happen. So I'm not even going to. I hesitate to mention it, but it is a very, very small possibility right now. So we'll see. I think when I get the Patreon page started, I got to make a judgment call and see how that's going. If it goes well, that bolsters the argument some. But also, I've got to get Ginger on board, and that is she's sitting next to me now making noises. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Bottom line is there is a very small chance, but I am not committed to that yet, and I won't be for a while. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, definitely the 2 PQs coming up in June, and then after, for me at least, that's it. Those 2 PQs are all that I have confirmed. And when you look down the rest of the calendar, the rest of the schedule for June, there's nothing else that's even like drivable. So it just doesn't work.
Well,
Now,
I'm happy to be covering one in June.
yeah. Now, we should have a showdown coming up at Dragon's Lair. Have they set a date for that? Does anybody know?
No idea.
I don't know the date.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not at all.
Okay. I will say I might skip the store showdown this time at Dragon's Lair just so I could actually, go play in one. That might be kind of fun.
That'd be fun.
I don't think I'd cast it. I think I've reached a point, like, I loved doing the showdowns there. I loved going in and just doing that because it let me proof of concept so much of the gear and everything, but I don't think I want to do it. I don't think I would do it
You're
forever.
onto the prettier girl at the dance.
Well, it would be nice
You're
to
saving your talents for a city that cares more and is more high stakes.
It would be nice to play a little bit. Now, Trey, you said you had 4 decks last night. Talk to me about another one that you really enjoyed.
So another one. So I'd seen that people had built this. But I didn't go look at anybody's. There were a couple of cards. So one of the things I think I've mentioned before is that the things that get me to build a deck is I'll see an interaction or a card that I really like, and then I'll go want to build around those, and then I'll just kind of build out the deck from there. So this is Count Dooku yellow. So the Twilight Count Dooku with yellow. A lot of people, I know a lot of things have been built around this, from using the invisible hand that goes and digs up all of the fighters that keep getting bigger and bigger. And I have that in there, but that is not what led me to this. That's just kind of ancillary to what I was doing, what I would like to do, or what I wanted to do. The cards that I really liked in this one is Lux Bonitary.
Oh, Lux Bonitary is so good.
He was supposed to be super good, but nobody's playing him. And so what Lux is, he's just a 3/2 for 2, which is just a strong card. And that's kind of my threshold for what I'm willing to play. Something that just does neat stuff. It has to work if it's not doing the neat stuff. And so a 3/2 for 2 is just, it's going to work. You just play it, and you just hit him in the face with a 3/2 for a while. But if they play something and don't spend the full amount for it, you get to tap or untap a unit. So you can just throw him down, and then if they play something cheap, like if they play a unit or a spaceship and they put R2D2 for 0 on it on the first turn, and you have this guy down, you could just untap him and then go to town and start hitting him already. Or you can use it to, if they sneak attack something in, he just immediately taps it and it just ruins their day. Like, there's all sorts of things. The other one that I like is, and I don't remember the name of it, I'm not looking at my sheet right now, and I don't want to slow us down, but it's the 4/5 Saboteur with so it costs 4. It's yellow, and it's a 4/5 Separatist Saboteur droid.
It's like infiltrator droid or something like that.
Yes, yeah. I love that card so much because I can play it on turn 1 with Count Dooku, because it'll stack his deal where you get to eat him. And so you can eat, if you play 2 battle droids on the first turn, you can use Count Dooku to play it for free, because he gets, I can't remember the name of the event.
Because he has exploit. When you're talking about droid deployment,
exploit, yes,
you start with droid deployment, and then you can use Dooku to add an exploit. The infiltrating demolisher already has exploit 1, so then you're adding another one. You can sack both droids and drop him down on turn 1.
Yes,
or he has political pressure in there, which is like my least favorite card to get played with me on turn 1. I freaking hate that card. 2 battle droids or lose a card. I'm just always like, I want to choke the person across the table. It's like, why?
And that's the thing. Like this card, political pressure. If you're playing against somebody that's good, you're never gonna get what you want. Like, I want to get the 2
battle.
You
can't have the droids. You can't have the droids.
Everybody wants the droids, and we all know it.
And then I've wasted my first turn, because that's kind of my only 1-drop. Maybe I need to go back in and look at some more 1-drops. But it's so one of the things about this is it does stack. It's a little fragile. It's a little too easy to disrupt, especially if you're using the exploit. That's what it's called, exploit. If you're using the exploit and you're basically playing something and then blowing that up to play something big, if they can then kill that big thing, then you're out all the cards. And so it's been surprisingly good. I've actually won a few. I won more than I lost with it. It's won a few games out of nowhere. Like, I've been way behind, and then all of a sudden it just comes back and does like 19 damage in a turn, because you hit with a bunch of you hit with the invisible hand, and then you hit with like a couple of crawlers that you hit out that are now much bigger, because you dug one up with the invisible hand, and then the crawlers, what are they called?
The vulture droids.
Swarming vulture droid.
The swarming vulture droids.
Vulture droids, yeah, the vulture droids. And then you played another one out of your hand, so everything got like 2 bigger, and you hit with it just does a lot of damage at like round 5 or 6. So it can hit like super hard. Let's see. What's the other one? The Invincible. So the Invincible is nice, because you can play it on turn 2. Like, you don't have to play. You don't have to have battle droids on turn 2, but it's a 6-cost 6/6 in the air capital ship.
So
and if you have a separatist
5 with
card,
an exploit. Yeah, okay.
it would cost 5 because your Dooku is a guy, and then you exploit 1 as a separatist, and then you exploit 1, and it makes it cost 3. So if you can play something on turn 1, you can just kill him. You can just play it immediately, and he is a big honking dude to play that quickly.
That's true. That's true. I hadn't thought about it. It's like getting a Poe Dameron on the second turn of the game, basically.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty good. So it's a separatist deck. It does well. It doesn't do great. It's not something I would probably take to a big tournament, but it is a lot of fun to play. And there are a lot of like lines to play, like doing the math of I can play this and then exploit this, and wait, this already has exploit 1, and then I can add to this exploit. It has a lot of lines of play that are it requires a lot of thought to calculate. And so if you enjoy, I enjoy thinking. And so if you enjoy thinking and then going, oh, I do something better, I can do this way, and it works out really better. Oh,
so
I'm really enjoying it.
Something I would recommend with this build that you look at. This was something that I watched the Piet deck that made top 8 in Milan doing with his invisible hand. He was using his invisible hand not with the swarming vulture droids necessarily, but to build his ground presence. He had a number of lower costed ground unit droids, like those separatist commando droids that are 2/3, but they get +2 if there's another separatist card in play. Yes. Those guys only cost 2. And so I think there's a lot of possibilities. You talk about having more lines to play. If you're looking at Invisible Hand, I think you should be looking at maybe a few more 2-drops down, like droid 2-drops that might help you out there. Even so something going back as far as a probe droid, right, would be a 3/2 for 2.
That's not bad. So
that's not bad.
I do feel like I've got a couple of less efficient card choices in here. I think I want to ditch the political pressure, because if I'm playing somebody good and I want to do well, I'm just not going to get what I want, and it's going to waste a turn. So I've got a couple of things. What else? Turbo Laser Salvo that I have in here, it didn't actually work. I never got to 7 with this. I mean, when I got to 7, the game was already over and it didn't matter. So there's a couple of inefficient things in here, and I was definitely, I considered that guy with the raid 2 and whatnot.
Yeah. I like it. I think there's a nice shell here. I watched you play this for a little bit. I watched Jason, you resourced one invisible hand, and then he ripped the other one out of your hand with a spark or something. And I could kind of see
what's her name?
Yeah, I was like,
go ahead.
I can see the light fade out of your eyes a little bit, like, oh, my combo cards are going away.
I had 3 cards. I had 1 card in my hand, and it was the invisible hand, and then I drew 2, and it was an invisible hand, and then something else that was going to be useful the following turn. And I was like, and I put the invisible hand down, the ugly one.
Yes.
And then I thought,
he hit you with Bazine.
What if he blows it up?
He hit you with Bazine.
Yeah, Bazine. So then I picked it back up, and I'm like, I agonized, and then I was like, no, I'll put this back down. So I even considered the idea that I might lose it, and then he immediately ripped it out of my hand.
Yeah.
My soul hurt.
Yes, I could tell. I like it. I'd be curious to see where you go with this one. If it were me, I would put in a few more ground units, and I still think I like the idea of putting in something that you can fish out with your invisible hand. So maybe if you already are dominating space, but you need to be fighting on the ground, the invisible hand can be helping you build that ground force up a little bit. I think that might be good.
I would like to just run 9 droid deployments if at all possible. That's all I care about.
That's the goal for turn 1, right? Just give it to me every time. Just give it to Mulligan for it every time. All right, Ian, I saw you playing a little bit of this deck. Talk to me about Grand Inquisitor Yellow. Look at this. You're going all the way back. I love it.
Well, first of all, I love Grand Inquisitor. He is the slowest aggro deck in the history of slow aggro decks. I was playing him yesterday, and I was sitting next to Samad, and he's like, I had 5 resources out, and he's like, aren't you going to flip the Inquisitor? And I was like, he flips at 6, and his face was like, what?
Yes, I know. It's painful.
So this is like a weird combo deck that's been working fantastically well. It's like a combo of, I don't know, like a little bit of Boba and a little bit of Grand Inquisitor. So every unit can be readied, right? And there's some weird combos that I can set up that I pulled off yesterday. So one of the combos I pulled off yesterday is I had initiative. So I played the Allegiant General Pride, took initiative, attacked, did 2 damage, 2 indirect, readied him, still had initiative, did 2 damage to a deck.
I love it.
So did basically 8 damage with General Pride. He then ran his unit into Pride. I then played, because I still have resources to play, I then played Guerrilla Soldier.
Yes.
So I'm doing 3 indirect damage. I obviously couldn't ready him, but he took out his unit and put 1 on base, so I readied him and hit 2 more. So it was like the end of turn 2, and I had 12 damage on base.
Nice.
Like already. And then the next turn, I was just able to play out a Dwarf Spider and just keep just nailing. The secret with this deck is do not trade. Do not trade your units. Let your opponent take your units and only attack the base if you can. I'm sure if I ran up against more Sentinel units that this deck would fizzle out pretty fast. The games that I lost, it just fizzled out. So if you don't win by the 6 resource turn, it became very difficult. Like I had Anthony at 28 health for like 3 turns before I was just like, okay, I'm scooping. Like I can't keep a unit on the board. No matter what I do, I can't get it readied. So it does fizzle out, but man, it's fun to play. Like when you can pull out the fun combos and like, I was able to get 3 attacks in with clan challengers one time. 2 attacked. No, 3. I got 3 attacks with clan challengers in 1 round for 18 damage. Yeah. And like the weird stuff that you can do with Inquisitor is pretty fun, but at the same time, it does fizzle. So I got to figure out what to do late game, but maybe there is no late game.
I was gonna say, I think with GI, you burn fast and burn bright, or you just don't burn. Like
you just burn.
Yeah, if you win by turn 6, there you go. I look at this deck a little bit like I look at Kylo, right? Either I'm gonna destroy you and you're gonna look up and go, I don't know what happened, or you're gonna manage to find a way to outlast me and I'm gonna lose. Like those are my options here.
Yeah, so you're gonna name both decks 2 hours for lunch.
Yeah, pretty much.
And the card that played really great was the Kaminga Heavy Fighter.
Oh, the Kimagila. Yes, that's a great card.
Yeah,
that card played fantastic because I've already done so much damage to base at that point that you really have to make a choice. Am I going to put any of that indirect on my base? So it really does a great job of exhausting units. The using Force Throw works fantastic. And No Good to Me Dead is just a short and sweet way to keep it quick. And then Torpedo Barrage played fantastic also. If I didn't have a good unit or I had 6 resources, I'd play a small unit and Torpedo Barrage. So it's a weird combo deck that I didn't think would play as well as it did yesterday, but man, when it popped, it pops, and it's fun when it pops.
So that you've designed both of these from scratch, right? These are your concoctions?
Yeah, I don't do any deck lists. I just build crazy crap, and if it works, it works. That's why 9 times out of 10 I bring a deck and you guys just blow me out. Other times I bring decks and I'm like, okay, this has some legs, and I'll just keep editing. So this is my 2nd attempt at this now.
Yeah, so I'm really enjoying looking at your deck list because you have such interesting card choices in here that most people don't play. And that's kind of one of my things I like to do is find bad cards that have very narrow windows and see if I can make them good. And I don't know that you have bad cards in here, but like you just don't see some of these cards. Like you've got In Debt to Crimson Dawn in here, the Kimagila Heavy Fighter.
Oh my god. So if I have no turn 1 play, which there's not a lot of turn 1 plays, playing that on somebody's unit for a start, you can see the sales come out because they'll play like I played it against Anthony's Luke deck, right?
Okay.
He puts out a fighter. He puts out a pilot. No Debt to the Crimson Dawn.
Oh, that's so rude.
Now it doesn't even, because I let him play his fighter. I said pass. Let's see what else he does. And he played R2. No Debt to Crimson Dawn. Now he's stuck. If he wants to play that unit, he's down 2 cards, and if he wants to ready it, he's going to lose all his resources.
He's going to lose his turn 2 play, basically.
He's either losing turn 1 or turn 2. That's incredible. But just going down the list, you've got Zero the Hutt in here. How is she?
So that's a great card because it readies a bunch of times, right?
Hold on before you go. before you go on, most people are not going to be watching this on YouTube. Every time I mention one of these cards, we're all looking at each other here. Every time I mention one of these cards, Ian's face basically just turns, the light comes on and his hands go up to this camera,
yeah.
like, holy crap, you got to hear this story. Talking with his hands is amazing. All right, tell me more about Zero the Hutt.
So Zero is great because you play him, right? And he, I believe, exhausts a unit.
Correct.
I can then
everybody.
Yeah, and then I can ready him, attack again, and exhaust a resource. So when you double combo him with Grand Inquisitor, or sometimes I'm able to triple combo him with Grand Inquisitor, you can really shut down their resources. Yeah, because you attack with him, ready him, flip, just do the whole thing over again. So it's really fun to watch somebody just be like, okay, there's one resource. And then, so if they're not smart and they're not playing their resources, by the time they realize it, I've done 6 damage to base and I've exhausted 3 resources.
That's pretty, because like the common line of play is to get your attack in so that if they kill it, you've already gotten your damage in, and then play your cards. I mean, there's a lot of reasons to not do that, but the kind of rule of thumb is you when it's your turn, you attack, because if they're going to kill it, then they can kill it afterwards, and then you play your stuff. So like this, that's really exciting. There's just so many exciting things in here. Now I know Dwarf Spider Droid always goes in this deck because 3/4 with
grit.
And
so does Death Watch Loyalist.
So does Death Watch Loyalist.
That's a 5 attack. And the way I look at it is it's just a 5 attack unit.
So 2 comments I want to make real quick. One is, I love to see you going back to GI, right? You've been playing Grand Inquisitor off and on since the beginning. I love GI Yellow. I've always liked this combo. This was one of the original decks that I messed around with to abuse Sneak Attack Raider, right? Back in the day.
Yes.
And I love that GI is a very overlooked leader, but every single set that new cards come out, there's more possibilities, more targets for his, more opportunities for you to go, that might not be bad. I love the Guerrilla Soldier ad. I love the Spider Droid, that kind of thing. Here's a card I want you to look at for a second revision of this deck. I want you to go look at Grim Resolve, okay? And I think you're going to find that you really, really like having I would put 2 in here, especially with Zero and the Clan Challengers. Because what Grim Resolve does is it lets you attack with a unit, and for that attack, the unit gets grit. And so something that you have inflicted all of these wounds on yourself, like Zero, suddenly can be huge, and out of nowhere, your opponent's not expecting this. I've never seen anybody play Grim Resolve, really. And I love that card.
Well,
most of your
that makes me want to play it.
Yeah, most of your units don't have grit. So a lot of times, like I've tried to build Grand Inquisitor before, and I just throw in every grit unit that'll fit. And then I looked at Grim Resolve, and I was like, well, they already have grit, so winners. But you only have like 1 or 2 in here that have grit. Exactly. So yeah, that would work really well.
Yeah.
Most of the grit units are vigilance.
Yes, most of the grit is a very vigilance thing.
So the way this worked better for me is using the weird indirect damage. Forcing extra damage out onto the board and making your opponent deal with it, because it's a new mechanic to people like myself, not to you Destiny players. But it's forced them to make decisions, which is great. I really enjoyed it yesterday.
I like it. I want to build this now.
Yeah, I want to play both these. I'm going to play both of your decks on Carabas because I just love them.
Yeah,
sure. Please do. And if you run up against Han decks, tell me what I need to do. I need to start building sideboard for Han.
So for me, the last one I've really been enjoying, and I've played a little bit of this on stream, Ian, you got to see this one, is Captain Phasma. I'm a big believer in Phasma ECL. I realized that, the first order unit pool to trigger her ability is a little on the weird side. There's a lot of low end, 1, 2s, and 3s. There's basically nothing in the middle. There's no 4s at all. There's single 5-drop, which is the green Phasma unit, a single 6-drop, which is Kylo from back in set 2, and then all the way at the far end, there's Finalizer for 11, which you just don't even bother playing because you're not going to go that far. With all of that said, though, that her flipping on 5 as a 5 resources as a 4/6 with her ability is really, really strong. And
Pretty strong.
it allows you to combo ECL. Like the dream is, flip Phasma leader in and then ECL out Phasma unit with something else in play, and you can hand out all of these buff tokens and have that 5 resource turn can be massive with the right cards. And even if you don't have exactly the right cards, it still can frequently be a very good turn. You've still got 5 resources, gets me overwhelming barrage, right? All kinds of other things can happen in that turn. I love playing that deck. It is so much fun. It's not flawless by any stretch of the imagination, and I'm starting to mess around with other mechanics in there. I added Mahdi in recently, looking at it going, one of these first order stormtroopers dies. I can run him into something, take the indirect myself, murder Mahdi, and stand somebody back up. Let's try that, right? Those kinds of things. So
That's interesting.
I think there's some neat lines of play in there, and usually it's a deck that can stand up pretty well in both arenas. Now there are some stinker units in it, right? The Dagger Tie is not very amazing. The Sith Trooper is a better card than I gave it credit for.
Because they have to deal with it.
It's just a 3/3 for 3, which sounds a little. It's not terrible, but then if you've got damage stuff lurking around, that can be a really strong unit. Like you say, they've got to deal with it.
They've got to deal with it because I've in limited at the pre-release I played against this and it was terrifying to play against because I was just trying to go around it and race them, and then all of a sudden it's hitting for like 5, 6, 7 every time, like as a 3-drop.
Yeah.
So, I like your use. I like your use of outflank. You have so many low end units. Outflank, I bet, plays really well in this deck. I love outflank.
Outflank is so good in this deck. Again, also because if I'm worried about Phasma, like once I get unit Phasma onto the board, I can and I'm worried about she's going to die or they're going to murder whatever it is I buff. I can outflank, attack, hand out the buff, and then attack with whatever I just buffed. So like outflank is a great card in that build.
And I think outflank actually, this is triggering my memory. I think outflank actually goes in my Poe deck too.
Yeah. The other card that I've looked at that's similar to outflank that I haven't put in there yet is out of the new set, Tandem Assault, right? Which is the one where I think if you attack with a space unit and then you attack with a ground unit and the ground unit gets +2/+0, or I forget how it works. Something it's either that or it's reverse. I can't remember. But yeah, I've looked at that one too. So yeah, I like the Phasma deck. I'm ready for there to be more first order units. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, if we get 2 or 3 good, decent first order units in the next set, I really like Phasma. And truth be told, she's going to be around for 2 more years as a leader. That deck's got legs. I'm telling you right now. Just give me some more tools to work with, and it's going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Twin Suns tournament next Tuesday, guys. Twin Suns. Now, I don't know that I'm going to be there. I should be there because I've literally never played this format, so I really should make the time to make this happen. But Twin Suns. So let's talk. What are you thinking about bringing? Like, talk to me. You guys have played this format. I got a lot to learn.
I'll let you go first, Ian.
Go, Ian.
Well, I mean, I play Grand Inquisitor Krennic. It's what I play.
Okay.
Just being able to give every unit, -2/+1 is a pretty great thing to do. And it allows me to sneak in a lot of, maybe not always wins, but put myself higher up in the tier of 4, right?
You get a lot of seconds. I get a
lot of seconds, yeah, because I get a lot of chances to manipulate at the end of the game with the Grand Inquisitor.
Mm-hmm.
The number one thing I'd say in Twin Suns is have Sentinel units.
Yes.
Have Sentinel units. I actually have a question, though. Are DJ and TRD legal in Twin Suns?
Yes,
they are.
Everything
is legal.
The suspension
Everything
list
is legal.
is Premier only. Yeah, everything's
Premier
legal.
only.
Everything's legal in Twin Suns.
Yeah. I'm trying it with Lake Country, so I'm going just two
aspects.
2 aspects and Lake Country.
Okay.
So we'll see how it works. I haven't played it that way yet. If it plays pretty terrible on Tuesday, I'll go back and throw yellow back in there and throw cunning back in. So we'll see. But I want to see how it plays. I want to see if that extra 4 health can either is going to make me a target at the table or help me get some wins.
I think everybody's going to be playing it now. Like that's kind of the thing is everybody's just going to play +30 health bases.
Yeah, I think in Twin Suns it's a huge advantage.
I mean,
in Twin Suns,
I have a TS deck drawn up. I need to sit down and gather everything up and actually like build it. I'm just on a 30-point base because I want the 3 colors. Right? I think there's a valid argument for just playing the 3 colors.
I mean, they have colored bases. I'm going to talk about a deck in a minute that uses a 30-point base, but I think it's going to be pretty prevalent to have the plus that you go down a card or whatever the other one was.
I think it. I'll say this. I think it does put a little more of a target on your head. You've talked about that, Trey. I think it does.
Yeah, it does. So on my perspective on this, I love Twin Suns because I like the casual. I like sitting around. I mean, it's just a whole. We've talked about it before. It's a whole different dynamic. It's sitting around having a beer with your friends, just having a good time with people.
Shout out to Dragon's Lair. You can actually order beer on premises, and they'll bring it to your table while you play Twin Suns. Just saying.
Yeah. And I'm excited that we're playing it this week. I'm a little less excited that it's a tournament. I'm still excited to do it. I'm happy to do it. But it having it be a tournament format actually makes it so I don't really buy the Carbonite packs. So if I do well in the tournament, I get store credit and I spend that store credit on Carbonite packs. So that's my incentive to do well in these tournaments I get Carbonite packs. And so this makes me want to play something that I know is really good and not necessarily something that I just threw together and drew up on the board. I have a deck ready to go, but I don't know how confident I'm in it yet. I'll talk about that in a minute. So I've previously played. So there's actually some tournament that happened a week or so ago, and the winning deck was the same deck that I played back when it was 50, which is blue Chewbacca, Ray, and a green base. And then there's just good stuff in there, and there's so much Sentinel that nobody ever wants to fight you. Your guys are too big, and so you just kind of hang around and win eventually. And so I won like every game that we played that night. So much so that I was like, well, that was fun, but I don't want to do this anymore. That was not I'm winning too much with this deck. So I've been like drawing some other stuff up. So I don't know if hopefully I won't be so incentivized to go back to that and play something that I'm already very familiar with because I want to go explore more stuff. So the deck that I've been putting together, I actually had this last night, Ian. I could have played this last night because you.
Oh, I had mine as always.
Yeah, you shamed me for not bringing one.
Nobody else did.
This one last night. So the deck that I'm looking at right now is Wedge. So I'm going to play pilots cheaply. Cassian. So I'm going to draw cards. I'm going to take the one that I saved from playing a pilot and use it to draw a card.
I like it.
And blue. And so it's Wedge, Cassian, blue.
Okay, I like it.
It just runs a lot of the cards. It actually shares quite a number of cards with the Poe deck that I had earlier. There's 10 or 12 cards that it shares with it because it's just red units that you're going to put with red things that you're going to put pilots on. I do get to play a lot of the blue pilots that I haven't really seen played yet. I mean, they've had a couple of homes, but like Astromech pilot, Academy graduate, Harris and Dullah, which I think is cool. I'll be able to play that. Who else do I have? Paige Tico, I think, is interesting. So they're
the Academy grad is a great card.
Oh yeah.
Well, it adds Sentinel to anything.
Yeah, it does
pilots.
add Sentinel. All the Sentinel. I get to play L3. So L3, where you run her out and just crash her into something, and then she dies and becomes a pilot.
Becomes a pilot.
Yeah. So and then playing one of everything. So I was talking earlier about the plethora of 3-drops that you get in Premiere, and it's not. You have the choice in Premiere is not do I have enough 3-drops. It's which of these amazing 3-drops am I not going to play? Which one fits what I do is 3% better than the other one, so that I'm choosing that. Well, because you only get one card, now you get to play them all. And so I have all of the good 3-drops in here. So it's a bunch of Sentinel. It's a bunch of Trace Martinez. I'm going to play Trace Martinez in this deck.
Nice.
So it's just 80 cards.
I'm looking at your list. I really like it. The only thing I would say is you're probably never going to get the redemption out, but you never know.
But that's the thing. The reason you don't play redemption to be a ship, you play redemption to be the card that you play on the final play of the game to heal your base for 8, so that somebody who thought they were going to win now gets second.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And so it only has to come out once, and if you get it, sometimes games get to 8, but oftentimes it'll get resourced if I get it early.
I just dumped my link in there. That's what I have drawn up. Hang on a minute. There we go. I haven't built it yet. But you guys know me. If I'm going to play a theme deck for fun, it's going to be Imperials, right? I'm an unrepentant Imperial. Yep. Everyone else is Rebel scum, and so I had to come up with some Imperials. I looked at and I thought, I like green. There aren't a lot of Imperial units in yellow. There's a handful, but not very many.
Yeah, not very many.
So I was like, okay, it needs to be green, red, and blue. So I knew that going in. I needed these colors. So what I have at the moment, what I have sketched up is Tarkin, Iden, and Joe Bob generic red base. I feel like Iden in that format is pretty solid. It feels like you should reliably be able to get her to fire off once a round as long as somebody else's stuff on the board dies, right? Tarkin kind of obviously you've played Tarkin a lot. You know the value there. Yeah, like if you're playing a little under curve, if your deck's not feeding you stuff directly on curve, you can kind of make the stuff you do have a little better. That doesn't feel so bad. And then just there's a lot of good Imperial units. There's some Sentinels kind of mixed in up and down the board. You've obviously got a decent amount of space units. So yeah, I'll probably throw something together, and I may yet re-examine the leader pool. I'm with Trey. I feel like Data Vault in this format has some really good possibilities, which would mean then if I would need maybe like a red leader to go with Iden, or maybe just reconsider it all. I don't know. I got to look into it, but I'm probably going to land on something like that. And I want to show up and play in this event if I can, because as I understand it, our local TO, Jason, is trying to work out a scoring system for Twin Suns tournaments, because there's not an official one, is there? I don't believe so.
Not yet.
Okay.
I don't know what they're waiting on, but I know that it hasn't happened yet.
So I think that's part of the reason he's doing this, isn't it? Is to try and come up with one.
Well, he's very determined to run Twin Suns as our store showdown.
Okay.
He's very determined to do that. Okay. So this is to set up his scoring system to see if it can work.
Okay.
So he's really hoping at least 12 people show up. So
Okay. Well, then I should definitely go and be there. So if no other reason, then want to play some Twin Suns. I've never done it. Go.
Wes, what do you think about using the blue, whatever, the Colossus to get your plus health base, and then using red Vader to go with Tarkin?
Vader Tarkin.
It's very thematic and Imperial.
It would be very thematic, wouldn't it? I could see it. The trick is, I'm not
sure. His ping is pretty nice. His ping is pretty nice in Twin Suns.
The trick is, I kind of don't want to have both leader abilities costing me resources.
Okay.
That's fair too.
Well, then you can just replace Tarkin with it. Maybe.
Yeah, I guess I'm not sold. I'm not 100% sold on the leaders yet, and there's plenty of good Imperial leaders that I have to choose from. So I will look into it, and maybe I can come up with something else that I like better. But anyways, that's kind of where my head is at for the moment. We'll see where it lands. But yeah, TS, I'm tomorrow, next week, it's gonna happen. We're gonna get into it. I'm 100% gonna do it. And did you guys happen to watch the official FFG stream today? They were playing some Twin Suns on camera.
No, I did not.
Yesterday? Oh no, the judges thing was yesterday. I missed
the judges thing was yesterday. The Twin Suns thing was today. They're playing some Twin Suns on camera, and I was watching it. I was sort of paying attention to the game. I was more looking at the way they had done their overlays in the corners, right? Because it's me, right? And I was looking at it, getting some ideas. I was like, yeah, I'd probably do this a little differently. We can improve that. And okay, I think I know. I've got some ideas percolating now to put Twin Suns on the table downstairs, and we'll have to mess around with that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Cool. 9 times
out of 10, what happens in Twin Suns is we all gang up on Trey.
I'm on board for this. I volunteer as tribute. Let's do it.
It's usually what happens.
Let's do it.
And how does that go? About half the time?
Ooh.
50-50.
Yeah, about half the time I win. Anyway.
I can sympathize, though, right? I used to play it. You guys have heard me talk about the old Babylon 5 CCG, which was designed as a 4-player CCG, and very commonly, you'd get down in the last few turns, you could kind of tell who was gonna sneak a win if you weren't careful. So, and sometimes even when they all ganged up on you, it didn't matter. So, yeah, I've seen that happen too. So, what else have you guys got going on in your life? Nothing to do with Unlimited. Ian, what do you got? What's keeping you entertained when you're not building decks?
Oh, it's NBA playoff time, baby. Ooh, my Lakers are the 3 seed this year. No play-in. I'm very excited for that.
Okay.
So
can't follow basketball anymore, man. It's just I don't know. It feels like it's been solved. It's either 3 points or dunks.
It kind of is. I'm not gonna lie, it kind of is. I am a huge addict though. Like I watched the whole regular season. I'm that big of a fan. So
my doom scrolling feed has somehow turned into a bunch of former NBA players telling stories. Apparently, there's lots of podcasts or whatnot where Barkley and Jordan and John Sally, like all people that, and like I've been watching them and remembering how much I used to love basketball back in the day when it was those guys playing, and like it just doesn't feel the same anymore.
It's lost a lot of its physicality and become more of a finesse league. But I mean, I'm still I'm a diehard Laker fan. I mean, I'll watch every game as long as it says Lakers on that TV.
Have you watched what is the game time, the winning time, the not documentary, but the
HBO show? Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty
And
good. I didn't watch the second season, but the first season was pretty good.
There's a knockoff on Netflix too.
Oh yeah,
which is like Genie Bus running the team. It's got shoot. I can't
oh
think of
yeah,
the
yeah.
name.
I watched a few episodes of that. It's not good.
It was okay. I watched it though.
It's not good.
I watched a couple of episodes, and then I got like the third or fourth episode, and I was like, they're just making dumb decisions. And maybe it makes sense for people who live out in California, but making dumb decisions that I'm like, this makes no sense. Then why would you choose this? You just put yourself in this situation. I can't watch this anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So for me, I'm another sport thing. Mine is baseball, but not like Major League Baseball. So I have a daughter at A&M who is a freshman, and she got the full sports pass. And so I'm getting ready to go to a baseball game in College Station. I like baseball. May 2nd, we're going to see them play LSU.
You're going to enjoy that.
It's a super lot of fun. I've watched A&M play in person a couple of times. I like watching them on TV. My favorite, any tradition in all of sports is in Aggie baseball. So Aggie baseball, they have, yep, that is exactly it.
Yes.
So if you get to a situation where the opposing pitcher has thrown walk somebody on 4 pitches. So ball 1, 2, 3, 4, walk. The entire crowd starts chanting, calling for the next ball. Ball 5, ball 5. And then when they throw that ball, if they miss and they throw another ball to the next guy, they don't miss a beat. It is ball 5, ball 6, ball 6. And you can watch these. If you have a moment and you want to see,
go look them up.
You want to see some pitchers get rattled. You can go on YouTube, and like the announcers who are calling the game will just shut up. Yeah. Like total silence. They just listen to the crowd. And I've seen like Mississippi State pitchers get to like ball 15 and ball 13, and like and it won't stop when they'll pull that pitcher. They'll bring in another one. They just keep going and calling for it. And that guy will often throw a ball. It is so much fun to rattle pitchers.
Yeah,
there's not enough great Major League Baseball pitchers, let alone great college pitchers.
Oh yeah.
So it's probably pretty easy for them to get rattled, and the amount of hits in college is way more. College games are pretty fun to watch.
The other fun thing about that, Trey, is I know you know this, but I'm just for the audience's benefit. When he does whatever pitcher does throw a strike, the whole place erupts. Like, yay, you figured it out! Congratulations!
Yes, just massive cheering for the opposing pitcher for finally throwing a strike.
Congratulations, you found the strike zone. We're all happy for you. Like, it's hilarious. Yeah. It is really fun. I have not had a whole lot going on outside of this. I've had my head down last week trying to get my arms around what to do next with the streaming thing. I do know tournament streaming. I do know that I'm going to start rewatching Andor. New season of Andor kicks off in about a week, a little less than a week. And I'm like, ooh, it's a holiday weekend. I have Friday off. Yeah, I'm going to go play some games. I really need to sit down and watch some Andor. I kind of want to. I remember watching it the first time, and the first, each that season is kind of structured similar to the way they've described this one. Right? Each 3 episode chunk is kind of its own little block. And I remember the last 3 episodes of the show just being phenomenally good. But I also remember the early part of the season kind of being a little slow. A lot more groundwork being laid, meeting characters and introducing locations. And so I need to go back and rewatch it and just kind of refresh my memory with everybody, because I think we're going to see just about all those characters again, and I don't want to go, who is this person? I completely forgot who they were. So yeah, I'm going to probably do a rewatch this weekend.
And overall, it was a really great season. Really good show.
Fabulous
really
show.
Good.
My wife and I are both like Tom Clancy political like thriller junkies. This is right up our alley. It's like if Tom Clancy had written a Star Wars story, it might look like this. And so we are both just like, oh yes, we're here for it. I absolutely love Andor. Such a great show.
I hope it gets off the ground, but allegedly there's a Star Wars horror script TV show floating around, which would be pretty awesome. That'd be a cool genre for them to take on.
Interesting.
There's a lot of scary looking monsters in the Star Wars universe.
You're not wrong about that. Cool.
So,
all right, guys. Well, listen, we've just about hit our time limit here if we're going to keep the Buzz Sprout guys from yelling at us. So I'm going to go ahead and call it. But thanks for being here, everybody. Remember the whole my obligatory, like, subscribe, give us a rating, yada, yada, yada. I have to say all that stuff. I should probably say at the beginning, but I'm lazy, so I'm saying it here at the end. Awesome. Thanks for being here, everybody. We'll catch you next time. Peace. Good luck
That's
in
fun.
your events, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.